Another massive day at the AFL trade period. The big news just keeps on coming. We're 3 days in, plenty more big deals to come. But we had some news breaking this morning. Zane Cordy was the first deal to go down. That one came a little bit out of the blue, a little bit under the radar there. The former Bulldog now joining St Kilda as a free agent on a 3-year deal. Not a superstar, Zane, but he did play in the Dogs 2016 flag. Mostly a defender, can swing forward occasionally. Will give the Saints a little bit of extra depth, and they haven't really given up anything to get him. But I guess if you're a St Kilda fan, you might hope they've got some other irons in the fire for the rest of the trade period. Then we heard Griffin Logue and Darcy Tucker both swapping from Fremantle to North Melbourne. So it's been a rough few weeks, we could say, for the Kangaroos, couple of years really, but that's a big win for them. So Darcy Tucker's just a handy sort of big-bodied midfielder that'll get games there, I'm sure, but Griffin Logue's a really good get. He's a former pick 8 in the draft. He played a bit forward for the Dockers this year, but really a key defender, and his stats, if you talk to the guys at Champion Data, they really love him. Not sure he's a great KFC Supercoach pick. He's not going to put up huge numbers, but if he can hold down a key defensive post and free up Ben Mackay as well to go out and take some intercept marks, I think that will really help the Kangaroos. Now, there was a bit more to that deal as well, so the Kangas get Griffin Logue and Darcy Tucker and a future third-round pick from the Dockers, and going the other way is a future second, a future third, and a future fourth-round pick. So all draft picks for Fremantle, and where that gets interesting is that could help them doing a deal with Melbourne for Luke Jackson, because we know Melbourne is asking for more draft picks to get Jackson over to the Dockers. So one of those picks might become part of that deal. And in a similar vein, we had a pick swap go through between GWS and the Brisbane Lions. Mark McGowan broke this story. Then about an hour later, the AFL ticked it off. It went through AFL House. And that was Brisbane getting pick 21 and a future second-round selection in a swap for pick 15. So that gives the Giants 4 picks in the top 20 in the draft. And they might get some more with some of the other deals that they've got going on at the moment. And Brisbane, I guess what's in it for them is that they're hoping they might get some extra bargaining power there that they can use to try and get Josh Dunkley from the Bulldogs. So those are the 3 deals at the moment that have been completed and officially ticked off by AFL HQ. But the big news this afternoon was that Jack Bowes from Gold Coast has chosen Geelong as the club he wants to play for next year. So 3 or 4 Victorian clubs, Essendon, Hawthorn, the Saints, I think as well, all made a pitch to Jack Bowes because we knew that Gold Coast was keen to maybe get him out of the club and get him off their books. That's the main issue, that they've really probably committed to paying him too much, and they can't afford to pay that salary. They need that money back. So they're prepared to offload him basically for a very little price. And the great bonus here is that whoever gets Jack Bowes also gets pick 7, which is incredible. A top 10 pick, and Jack Bowes, who was himself a pick 10 in the draft a couple of years ago. So just a massive win for the Cats. They'll probably have to give something back. We'll get some negotiations over the next few days. Probably a future second-round pick maybe going back to the Gold Coast Suns because they need to get back in the draft, say, next year. But, for Geelong, it's just absolutely incredible result. If they come out of this with Jack Bowes, who's a former top 10 pick, they could potentially end up with Ollie Henry, who was a pick 17 originally, and Tanner Bruhn from GWS, who was pick 12 in the draft. So they could land all those 3 guys and get pick 7. And need we remember that this is a team that just won the grand final. So, amazing work from Stephen Wells and the whole list team down at Geelong. But if you're 17 other clubs, you're probably thinking, how do we catch these guys? So that deal still has to be negotiated between Geelong and Gold Coast. But it seems that's the way it's going to go. We'll follow all that over the next few days. We've still got Brodie Grundy, Luke Jackson, Jacob Hopper, Josh Dunkley. Lots of big names and small names. We might get another Zane Cordy anytime now too. So stick with us, subscribe, and we'll have all the news and analysis.